But that isn't how it works, you see. It isn't my beliefs right now that are regulating my emotion. It's the fact that I'm acting out those beliefs, which include implicit perceptions. I'm acting them out, and so are you. And so what you're doing and what I expect, more accurately, what you're doing and what I want you to do, and the way I want you to react to me, that's working. So it's the match between my belief system and the way everyone else is acting that's regulating my emotions. It's not the belief system. It's mediated by the social culture. And you see, if you understand this, then you understand more particularly why people are willing to fight to the bitter end to protect their culture. It's not a psychological structure that they're protecting. It's a psychological structure and a sociological structure simultaneously. So the social contract is, you have a set of expectations and I have a set of expectations. They're actually desires. They're not merely expectations, because as living creatures we're desirous. We don't just expect. And so you desire an outcome and I desire an outcome. And we agree to act in accordance with that. That's the social contract. And so people don't like having that disrupted. Well, it isn't because it psychologically destabilizes them, although it does. It's because it actually destabilizes them. Right? If all of a sudden we can't occupy the same specified domain of territory, it isn't only that we're thrown into psychological disarray, although we will be, it's that we'll start fighting with each other, like, and that can kill you. It's no joke. It kills people a lot. Like, it can happen very easily that a cohesive social group can fragment along some fracture line of identity, let's say, and all hell breaks loose. You know, that's what happened with the Tutsis and the Hutu in Rwanda, you know, and those things can get out of control just so fast. It's just unbelievable. And that wasn't death anxiety, that was death. That's a whole different thing. And that's the other thing that terror management people don't exactly get. It's like, it isn't just that your culture and your cultural beliefs protect you from anxiety, and say anxiety about death even. It's that they actually protect you from death as well as protecting you from death anxiety. I mean, look, it's warm in here, it's cold outside. The fact that the culture is intact means that you're not outside freezing. That's a hell of a lot more fundamental in some sense than mere anxiety, although I'm not trying to underplay the role of anxiety. That's a major issue, but there's something that's a lot more fundamental at stake than mere psychology. So it's the match between your map of the world and other people's actions that regulates your emotion. And it regulates it completely, because, you know, if someone in here started acting seriously deranged, like brandished a pistol, let's say, all of a sudden you would not be in the same place at all, not a bit. And so what would happen? Well, chaos would happen. And chaos isn't just that you would get anxious. That's not a good enough explanation. What would happen is more complex than that. What happens in some sense is that your body, and it does this, what would happen is that you would react the same way that a rat reacts to a cat. It's exactly that. It's exactly that. You would respond as if a terrible predator had emerged in your midst. And so what is that reaction? Well, it's not just anxiety, because when you encounter a predator, anxiety isn't the only thing that's useful. That just makes you freeze. It's like, that could be the worst thing you could do. You freeze and, well, you're a pretty easy target. So you have to be prepared for a lot broader range of responses than mere petrification. Like, how about a little aggression? That might be helpful. You don't know, it also might get you killed, but, you know, maybe you can take the guy down, and maybe that's a good idea, you know, and maybe you have to run, so that's disinhibited as well, and maybe you have to think really quickly and reflexively, so that happens, that's activated, disinhibited, I would say, as well. It's like your whole being is thrown into intense concentration on the moment, and you're burning up physiological resources like mad. And so what will happen after something like that, if you don't develop outright post-traumatic stress disorder, which some of you would, is that you'd, assuming that the situation was brought under control, you'd walk out of here shaking with your heart rate at like 170, and it would take you like, well, it might take you the rest of your life and maybe you would never recover, but you could bloody well be sure that it would take you the rest of the day, that's for sure. And so it's no joke when someone steps outside the confines of the social contract.